Dear Charles, what do you think about the religious themes of Shakespeare's work? I've heard him and his plays being described as Catholic, atheist, and everything in between. Also, what are Charles's and Vince's favorite Shakespeare plays?
Ooh, good question. Well, I mean, I agree very much with the current belief that Shakespeare was at the very least a crypto-Catholic. His dealing with purgatory and Hamlet, his very, very sympathetic portrayals of religious and clergy, Friar Lawrence and Romeo and Juliet comes immediately to mind. And simply his awareness of the historical background of England, all, I think, lend their the likelihood that he was at least crypto-Catholic.
Well, one of the things that people always cite is the ghost in Hamlet.
Yeah.
And what I think he makes a reference to St. Patrick, which is the patron saint, or not the patron saint, but is associated with purgatory.
And St. Patrick's purgatory in Ireland. And he also says explicitly, by night something in purgatory, or by day by something or other in purgatory fires, and by night I walk.
Yeah.
So he's very explicit, which is exactly, if you've been smart enough to read the Ghost book by Sir Sean Leslie, you know.
Yeah, Sean, definitely. But you know who's written an absolute boatload, who I think of immediately for Glenn, who has this question, is Joseph Pierce.
Yeah.
I mean, he's written a couple, but I haven't read them yet. My mom has a bunch of them, but he's really written on that.
He has, and there's a couple of other authors today that have written about the same topic and come to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
So, throw Shakespeare Catholic into Google, you'll find a ton of these things. Now, as far as favorites go, that is an interesting question. I would say, well, you want to take that first, or?
Well, I mean, I don't have them. I mean, all the Shakespeare plays that I know, I read in high school. So for me personally, my favorite villain is Richard III. He is really villain. I mean, he's just killing everybody, and he is so. And he's got so many great lines. Some of the most underrated lines. All these lines that people don't know come from Richard III. My horse, a kingdom for my horse.
Yeah.
At the end, that was a great closing line where it'd be right before he. Yeah, no, I'll avoid the spoiler.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time you've ever heard the word spoiler used in relationship to one of Shakespeare's plays. All right, and what else?
I'm simple taste. I like Iago was another good villain from Othello. I really enjoyed him. Very clever, very witty. And then I just liked Hamlet, and I really liked Mel Gibson's rendition of Hamlet. I really enjoyed that a lot. And that's it for me.
Well, I would say that my all-time favorite Shakespeare play is Midsummer Night's Dream, and I love The Tempest. As you guess, as you will, or as you like it rather, or what you will. As you can guess, my taste runs towards comedies. But, I do have an appreciation for the rest of it. One of the things I really liked that was Shakespearean, although not by Shakespeare, was Orson Welles' pulling of the character of Sir John Falstaff out of Henry IV, Merry Wives of Windsor, which I also love, and Henry V, and putting it together into a movie in which Falstaff is the main character. It's called Chimes at Midnight, and it's the arrangement is Orwell. Oh gosh,
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles, not Orwell. The arrangement is Orson Welles, but the material is all Shakespeare, and it's wonderful. Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. Yeah, magical.
I think that was one of his favorites too, of the things that he did.
Yes, it was. Wells. Well, see, he identified with Sir John in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
and I can understand that myself. I mean, I'm getting to the point now that if I were ever going to do Shakespeare, I think Falstaff is probably the character I'd play. But I think maybe a couple of years yet.
Okay.